Peace, peace, peace. This your brother Monroe Jr. I'm going to be offering my brief commentary right after this quick clip. Peace.
Do you support reparations for black people?
Well, listen, again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination and segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit black children, black families, black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this: any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, because whatever benefits that black family will benefit that community and society as a whole in the country. Right?
Peace, peace, peace. This your brother Monroe Jr. So we just seen the video of Miss Harris, whom is an intelligent person. She vividly gave us a fraction of our suffering and our sojourn here in America, but as politicians do so well, when it comes time to delivering on the Daba speech, they cannot fill the void of the desire of black America to have something that is specifically allocated and engineered for black society. As we have seen, there have been bills passed specifically for Latinos, specifically for gays. Well, black people have suffered more than any ethnicity or group in this country. But black people must recognize and realize that if it's not our economics that's fueling the politician, then 9 out of 10 times they will always deflect and cater to the masses who bankroll them. Other ethnicities bankroll our politicians. In 1969, there was a benign and neglect policy put before Richard Nixon by his urban affair advisor, Mr. Daniel Moynihan. And if you And if you listen to the language benign, which means kind, but then you follow it up with a term called neglect, why would you appear to be kind to us or a friend to us or to have good intentions or motivation, but your real motive is neglect? This is how white America has been to black America, where they appear to be our friends, but underneath that is a surreptitious motive, and black people have been lulled to sleep by smiles, right? We have been lulled to sleep, or lured to sleep by good gestures with wicked motivations. In 1976, in New York, there is what they call planned shrinkage by Mr. Roger Starr, who was a commissioner in New York. What is that? Okay, so 69, we have benign and neglect, which is the flight of resources. Then in 76, we have the shrinkage, which is the shrinkage of services that the city will provide to inner city communities. So we're talking about the flight of services to the community, which they said is a derivative of the lack of tax dollars being circulated throughout the community. But we know that that's a result also of benign and neglect, which is the allocation of resources. So of course, when there is less opportunity, crime comes as a result of that. That's common sense. The first law of nature is self-preservation. Well, as black people, we now have to think about self-preservation, as there have been reports that have said that the black male is dying at the rate of an endangered species. We now have to think about black economics like Asians and Jews and other ethnicities and Latinos. Think about economics. There's nothing wrong with that. That's nature. We would say it's something wrong with the lions if the lion pride looked out for the hyena pride. That's nature. There's nothing wrong with that. As Asians, their dollars circulate 29 times before it goes out into the hands of other ethnicities. Jews as a group, their dollars circulate over 20 times, right? Caucasians is up there as well. Latinos are starting to rise. Black people, our dollars only circulate a few hours and then it goes into the hands of other ethnicities. And we wonder why everybody else makes it as though it's something negative when black people talk about black economics and black progress. It's because other groups are benefiting the most from our dollars. So let us not depend on politics, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has said, a lot of ticks that are sucking the blood, or a lot of liars that are promising things but are full of tricks. Let us look inward, brothers and sisters, and not depend on our politicians like Miss Harris. Let us get our economics together. As we see Asians, they're not too involved in politics, but their economic strength. Whenever you come into their community, you know what it is. When you go into their communities, right? And they have self-respect. That's all we have to have is self-love and self-respect, and stop taking all our dollars out into the suburbs and not reinvest. At least if you're going to take your tax dollars out there, invest back in the inner cities, or go to an area, a suburb where it's mostly your people at, right? And help to beautify that suburb, and then go back to the inner cities and reinvest, brothers and sisters. This your brother Monroe Jr. I'm signing out. Peace.